You have about 3 seconds to earn someone's attention. That's it. 3 seconds before they scroll, click away, or tune out completely. My guest today built his business on that reality and then discovered something most leaders miss. The same 3 seconds that decide whether an ad gets watched also decides whether your team feels seen when you walk into a room. Today, we connect the dots. Hi, I'm Gino Degregori, and welcome to the Kind Leader Podcast. My guest today is Brandon Wasserburger, founder and CEO of Fire Tribe, a marketing agency that combines neuromarketing with the storytelling craft he built producing shows for Netflix and HGTV. Brandon works for colleges, trades companies, and energy firms, and he has a track record most agencies will kill for. 3 times the lead flow for the University of Wyoming, 8 times the engagement of Wyoming's Veterans Commission. He built a proprietary approach he calls the EBE method, and I think it stands for entertainment-based enrollment, that treats attention as the most valuable currency in modern business. But the reason I actually wanted to have him it's not his marketing background or HGTV, is what he's built inside Fire Tribe. He runs a team-first culture, calls his clients partners, faces out anyone who mistreats his people, and has some of the sharpest thinking on servant leadership. Brandon, welcome to the podcast, and I look forward to having our conversation. So if you can kind of share your background and what drives you.
Yeah, thank you for that generous introduction. That you said it better than I do. So, my background is in television. I grew up in rural Seattle, and I didn't know a soul in entertainment industry. And just through a series of events, I ended up editing television shows and working with some of who would become the best producers in the business. And along the way, I learned a lot about how business should work and how it shouldn't work, and how you should treat people and how you shouldn't. And I wanted to roll all the best lessons I learned into a company that treats creatives well and treats its clients well and does good work for them. So that's kind of how I ended up here. Yeah.
Amazing. Congratulations for all your success and the company you're building based on that, that servant leadership and that kind leadership that we'll talk here about, right? And I love the entertainment side of it and the short amount of time that we really have to capture and captivate people's attention, right? So, but before we start talking about those things, I would love to get your perspective on the first question that I ask is, what does being a kind leader mean to you?
Yeah, kind leadership means seeing people as in your business, whether they're on your team or whether they're a client, seeing them as a whole person. And it's really easy to get caught up thinking overly transactionally, and we need to be mindful of profits and things like that. That's critical. It's actually critical to kind leadership as well. But seeing the person in front of you as a whole person, what's going on in their day, what's going on in their how's their morning going? In addition to like the work they're working on, has it been good for them? Is it stressful? Looking at all those different aspects. I think when you take in the whole person that's sitting in front of you and then use that as your foundation to work with them and to lead them, that's what I think kind leadership is. It's such a strength. It's from a position of strength, and a position of empathy and compassion. And it makes for a more effective company. It's a company worth building. It's a place that makes your business a place you want to get up and go to every day.
Yeah.
And it also makes that type of work worthwhile and more profitable too.
Absolutely. And I think by looking at it, I love, just to summarize it just real quick on this, like seeing it as a whole person. That's what I kind of take away, right? You see somebody as a whole, right? You make that connection, you build that trust, and you build that environment where people, like you said, are excited to go in without having that fear of like, what's going to happen today? What am I going to get yelled at? Or maybe I shouldn't say this, I shouldn't say that, right? And you're coming in with like, I really want to, let's go, right? Let's go together. Let's join forces and bring value to our customers at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, it's making sure your people that are on your team that are following your leadership. Uh, it's making sure they know that you're for them.
Yeah.
If they don't feel like you're for them, you're you're running a business that has a very short clock on it. But
Yeah.
and honestly, it's like, why build something like that? Why not just go work for somebody if that's the kind of business you're going to build?
Right.
So if you're actually going to build something, it is harder, but it's way more fruitful in all aspects of it. You could build a business people are not happy to go to, keep it transactional. But if
Yeah.
you want to build a business that people are really happy to go to and are really productive at, then be a kind leader. Build a
Yeah.
kind business,
Exactly.
and it's going to be more profitable over the long term, at least. So
1,000%. 1,000%. Yeah. So have you kind of put in a couple of threads? I just would like to get your perspective. Has there any been an experience or a story you would like to share where you've been a kind leader or somebody's been a kind leader in your life?
yeah, it's funny. Well, my first job was at McDonald's, and I had a manager there, the store manager, and he was like Michael Scott from The Office. He was a ton of fun to work for, but and he was very kind, but he had high standards. We still did a really good job. We still kept a really clean place and made solid food and all that kind of stuff. And I always admired that about him as he led with kindness, but it wasn't a lot of people perceive kind leadership as like being soft or letting things slide or that type of thing. And that's really it's more that's that view of kind leadership is more like I'm not sure what the word is. It's just a distorted view of it. And I really learned my first I'm so blessed at my first job. My manager balanced that really well. He
Yeah.
led with kindness by making sure we were having a good time, but that we were doing a good job, and that the two things were the same.
Absolutely. No, I like that. I was picturing Michael Scott there when he was talking to you there. It was a great analogy or comparison. And you're right. It took, like, if you look at old style of leadership, right? And even old style, it's- I guess what I'm trying to say is when I started talking about kind leadership in my organization, which it was about maybe 8 years ago, and I was talking to other leaders, the same thing came up. I was like, well, that's kind of soft, right? You want kind of soft leaders? Is that what you meant? That's not. So it took me a while to really create a true definition. And I think this is what sparked the to have these conversations. What does a kind leader mean? Like here's all these definitions that, different perspective. And it's not for the most part, has never been, oh, you're soft or too nice, right? It's always with that, accountability behind it. Yes, we have to, but we have to connect with people, provide them an environment where they can thrive, right? It's more about the connection and building that the great environment for people than anything else, right? It's not about just letting people do whatever they want, right? That's not at all what a kind leader is. And it took me a while to understand it, um, not from my definition, but to understand what people were thinking and what we were getting at. So, but and I appreciate your definition and your story there, and it's an amazing where because you not only just your boss, for example, he not only just gave you that that support, but he made an impact in your life, right? Now
Oh,
you're talking fast
100%.
forward years later, right? And you're still talking about that, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'll never forget him. Yeah, and that's the kind of I hope to reproduce that kind of legacy in my business as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
to push a little bit on it, let's say, you are incorporating that in your organization and you mentioned that, let's say you have a not a very nice customer, all right, that is demanding and really pushing people over or saying you guys, not doing but how do you navigate through that? How do you educate and work with your team to make sure that either, you transition that customer away, you maybe you have some empathy to understand where they're coming from? Like how does that work in your organization?
yeah. So the first thing is I start from a place where, like you mentioned earlier, we're a team first culture. So when I'm when we're in the midst of a project that might be going a lot rougher than we anticipated, and my first thing is to make sure that our team is all right,
Yeah.
that they feel supported, that that I'm not piling more onto them because this thing that they're on is already asking more of them. I also try to bring in support. So if this say that what if if you're going through a rough patch with a client or a project, or the project is having a lot of problems, then what that means is that project's gonna cost you no matter what. And
Yeah.
so you have to decide what bill are you willing to pay? Are you willing to run a debt on your employees? Uh, Happiness is the wrong word.
Morale?
Morale is that's a stronger word. Yeah. Or are you willing to like lose a bit of profit on the project for a longer term gain?
Right.
And so I will lose profit on a project, bring in support because this thing just got twice as hard to do. So that way, to relieve some of the stress, I figure out where can I relieve stress. This client's relationship is maybe a little
Right.
difficult. So after I fix that, then I'll figure out, okay, on the client side, what's the problem? Is it something I can fix, or is it just
Mm.
a bad chemistry? If it's something I can fix, then I'll fix it. And because we want happy clients too. And
Right.
uh, I've I found that to work really well because once I can kind of see more context on where both ends are coming from, I'm always going to be my team first. But
Yeah.
if I can help, I can make my team member happier if they know what's making the client unhappy, and I'll
Right.
translate between the two and I'll make that communication stronger.
Right.
And either it'll resolve and actually become better. All of a sudden, this uh, nightmare project turns into a dream because now we understand each other and will become more profitable long term. Or it's just not a fit. Not everybody gets along.
Right.
And so we'll do our very best on the project to make sure we complete that with integrity, make sure we make that client as happy as we can. But then if they call us, we'll recommend them to someone else, that type of thing. Yeah. So, but the key is you, you got to take care of the people that you're in the boat with, because even
Yeah.
after that's over, you're still in the boat with these people,
Right.
and
Exactly.
they still got to like listen to you and you got to be a leader worth following.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
anyway, they need to know you have their back. And that's in those types of situations.
Yeah. I really like how you also started with, you need to decide which bill you wanna spend essentially, right? You wanna spend it on taxing your employees, or do you wanna spend it on lower profit potentially to retain your employees and continue to then. And the other thing that I love what you said is the perspective, right? As you're coming in, trying to understand the empathy side of what's going on with the customer. Maybe the employee or the team doesn't understand because it wasn't properly communicated or certain thing. We don't know, right?
Yeah.
So, and most of the times arguments are just misunderstandings, right?
Well, and there's some goal to be those. I mean, I know it's kind of a cliche nowadays that problems are opportunities, and that
Mm,
sounds really nice in a Hallmark card, but it is really, really true. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've discovered problems in our process, or areas I can optimize our process to make it better for that client and future clients, and avoid even more hardship down the line. So it, those headache clients. I shouldn't say headache clients. Those headache projects is that's more accurate. Those headache projects actually create tremendous growth and tremendous they just make everything better. Like make your culture better, your team is tighter. Sometimes you have some fun war stories that actually
yeah,
that can bond your team together more,
exactly,
So
exactly.
anyway,
Well, that friction and pressure allows and provides opportunities for growth always, right?
yeah,
And but you have to also have that mindset to receive that, right? Because if you don't
100%.
have the mindset to receive that, it's always going to be the world against you. Yes, this happened because of to me, right? Rather than, you know what, this is happening for me in order for me to grow and become a better leader, become a better, person overall, right? And I think that is what I was trying to understand, and how you're leading in your organization, and as it relates to this particular conversation, when you have difficult customers, obviously you have to take care of your employees, and then hopefully educate and influence, or understand, right, some of the things that the customers are going. And if not, then it wasn't meant. They're not part of the culture, right? And that works for both ends, right? Not just
Yeah.
internal, but also external.
Oh, absolutely. And it, I really truly believe that sometimes that client is, it's just, and our team is just not a fit. It's okay. In fact, if your business really is about serving people, then it that's also part of it is like, hey, we're not a fit, but you know who is a fit is this guy down here. He's
Yeah,
really, really good, or their company is really, really good,
exactly.
and I think
Yeah,
they're going to fit better with you. You you just saved them a ton of time instead of wasting time trying to make the thing work that wasn't going to ever work anyway.
exactly. How,
So
how are you working with your organization right now, with your team? Is there an education path or your core values you train? Like, how are you ensuring that, you know, um, your folks are kind of following that methodology?
yeah, I need to get it down into an SOP, but the I would say one thing that I've noticed in our industry with filmmakers and video and marketing type people that at least that I've somehow attracted to our company is that I hire for people that like people. So if there's creatives, there's a lot of creatives that don't like people, and there's a bunch in our industry that do. I think it's almost unique to our industry. There's a bunch of people that are so eager to do this work that they will gain the people skills to do
Yeah.
the work.
Mm,
And so um, I'm very, very careful. I really don't have a lot of I try to keep everything as simple and minimal as possible in the way I operate the business. So
yeah.
I, when I hire, I try to really hire for people that like people. We can
Yeah.
train the video side, you know, that part we can train the artistic stuff, but it's really, really difficult to train someone to like people.
Yeah.
And,
Exactly.
and then, uh, to make sure that we operate smooth, I have I only have 2 rules. Rule number 1 is if one of our team members is not happy, or if they are happy, they need to tell me either way. They need to tell me when they're not happy, and they need to tell me when they are happy. That way I'll know kind of what's working, what's not inside of our company. But kind of the foundation of that rule is I have to be a safe person to talk to.
Yeah.
So when I bring them on, I say, "Hey, I promise you I will not get angry if you have feedback for me or criticism for me."
Right.
I make that promise because I can't ask you to communicate with me how you're feeling if I'm not
Right.
safe. So that's probably the foundation of my kind leadership is that. And then
Gotcha.
the second piece is if we're actively working on a project, I've got to hear back from you within 24 hours. Try to give a long leash. And of course, if I know they're going through something, like they have
Right.
a family member in the hospital or something, they tell me and I leave them alone and we move somebody else in on the project to take that stress off. But the those are the 2 rules, and it's funny because those 2 rules have guided that's everything is predicated off of that.
Yeah.
I haven't had to make a big crazy, employee manual or anything
Yeah. Yeah.
with those 2 rules in place.
I like
It's
that.
talk to me and, and I'll create a safe place for you,
Yeah.
that's it.
And that's the critical piece, right? I mean, they won't talk to you if you don't have the safe space for them. All
Right,
right.
right,
They'll
and
be
I've even had to let people go over that because I've had people that, uh it's only happened once in in our 16 years, but, uh, I've had people that did it great people, but they didn't know how to, let it out. They
yeah.
would just sit there and boil on it and then blow up on me, and I
Yeah.
would try my best to manage it and try my best to create be that I wouldn't get angry with them, keep be constructive, but, uh, so it is a filter, like, it is a rule, it's not just
Yeah.
um, but yeah, anyway, like I said, we're not always good chemistry for each other, but
Yeah.
those are my 2 guiding lights, and they worked 99% of the time for
Yeah.
16 years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. No. Well, congratulations. And I love the how simple you describe it, right? It's really connection, right? Are you come talk to me, and then creating the safe space, and those are two critical things that create your organization and allows for that thriving energy, and hopefully people are feeling that as well, and then you're protecting them from the customers as well, right? From
Sometimes, yeah,
sometimes you gotta
sometimes,
come in and then take care of that, and but yeah, so congratulations on that. I mean, that's amazing. I love seeing that from company leaders and owners, and not just it's not just about the money, right? It's not just about the work. It's about one thing that I talk to other business owners or future business entrepreneurs and stuff like that is like, oh, they focus so much on the money. It's like what you're building is great value essentially to a customer, but don't forget that you're also building and incorporating humans into your organization. So you have
yeah,
to think about them. You have to think about how your decisions are impacting these folks, right?
yeah.
And how you navigate through that. How do you build that within your organization?
And my argument is, if what you are thinking about is the money, then you need to think about kind leadership.
Yeah.
Like if you want a higher ROI company,
Yep.
then you don't want churn and you
Yep.
want your clients to have their customers to have a good experience. They're going to have a bad experience if your people are angry or if your people
Exactly.
are scared.
Yep.
They're going to have a great experience and keep coming back and spending more money if
Yep.
your people feel are happy and supported. And
Exactly.
that's part of the product. I mean, it
And it,
really is, you know.
it
Um,
is exactly
it's not reduced to that, but if that's all you think about is the money,
right.
I argue if you're going to be a Scrooge, then go all in. Don't be a lazy Scrooge. You
Right.
know,
Right. Exactly.
that's kind of my 2 cents.
Yeah, the more you invest in people, the more you'll be able to the return is higher, right? Rather than investing in other things that are not gonna churn. And
I don't
even
think that's what it's all about, but that's if that is what it's all about for people, then
yeah,
yeah, go all in.
of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And investment is also creating the same, creating the safe environment, and providing other benefits or opportunities and that kind of stuff, right? So that's exciting. I mean, congratulations again, on building Fire Tribe for the last 16 years, and seeing that. That's why I was really interested in talking to you. The other thing with your background, as you said it earlier, you have to make sure that you connect with your people, but you're also, when you're talking to them, we talked earlier about entertaining, right? You have to entertain and deliver a good message, but that comes from your background, working in Netflix, working in HGTV. Let's talk about leadership and the entertainment business.
Sure.
Your experience and how you're seeing things now changing, or for the better or worse. I don't know how we can help it.
Yeah. Do you want me to tell a story?
Please.
so, so, uh, television editing, as you could imagine, is extremely stressful. So and you're always trying to do a lot with very little. And we were working on this extremely stressful TV show one time, and I had a friend who was also editing, and he was editing like 12, 14, 16-hour days, and he was making miracles happen with this footage. And he started to get really grouchy. Like he was starting to get really angry with people. And he got to the end of his stretch. He finished his show and he was about to get on the plane and fly home for a break and then come back. And on his way out, our boss went to him and said, "When you come back, try not to be such an asshole."
Oh, wow.
And and then he left. And so my friend just got done being extremely stressed out. Of course, he shouldn't be grumpy. He shouldn't be mean.
Yeah.
I get that. But uh, so then he left with an extra chip on his shoulder because our boss came and threw extra fuel
Yeah.
on the fire,
Well, yeah.
right? Like
Right.
salted the wound even more.
Yeah, right.
And and now I'm sure his break was tarnished by that. And then coming back, he's going to come back with a chip on his shoulder, right?
Yep, yep, yep.
And I filed that in my memory, and I decided to say, okay, if I'm ever in that same position of leading someone in that situation, one, I'm going to try to do everything I can to prevent them from being in that situation to begin
Right.
with. But even if I couldn't, I would want to go to them and lead them with kindness. I'd want to go there and empathize. Hey, man, I totally get where this is brutal.
Yeah.
But when you come back from your break, I want you to rest. And when you come back, we're going to make sure that this is not brutal for you next time. We're going to make sure that you got the support you need.
Right.
Then that angry guy is going home relieved. He's coming
Yeah.
back even more relieved.
Yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
I took note of that. That boss was a great guy, equally under a ton of pressure, and just didn't pull the right lever. So and that's like really took that away from the entertainment industry. And I think uh, when we think about storytelling and we think about entertainment, there's different levers we can pull to release different chemicals in people's minds, right? Oxytocin, that sense of belonging, um, cortisol, that sense of fight or flight. And
Mm-hmm.
my boss at that time chose to pull the
Right.
cortisol lever,
Yep.
which is not what you want to pull very often. That's like
Yeah.
overstimulating the food. He should have looked for the oxytocin lever in that,
Mhm.
in that correspondence. So that's a element of entertainment that he could have drawn on very easily and just didn't think of it at the time.
I like what you said. I want to pull oxytocin versus what was the other one you said?
Cortisol. Yeah.
Cortisol. Cortisol. Which we under. I think maybe some of the listeners may know what those are, but um, I like how you described it. That was really nice.
Yeah.
And like, do you wanna kind of create that fight or flight, or do you want to create that comfort? I guess, right?
Sense of belonging. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That I
Yeah,
care about you kind of
exactly, exactly.
chemical, right?
That can, and it works. I mean, how because I'm sure it's scientific backed, right? As you're looking at creating, you're creating movies or whatever. How does that work? I mean, is it delivered? How it gets delivered? Is it the music in the back? I always felt like when they put the music, right, it can
A lot.
drive you into the different kind of um, situations, like your emotional side, right?
Yeah, it's all of the elements. That's one of the reasons I love the filmmaking and the video making. Obviously marketing is full of different types of content and they all pull those levers, but video and film is like the apex tool to do all that, right? So I mean, uh, if you wanted to, I think I'll talk about it like there's several different ways to do it, whether the way the camera moves or the way something's edited or the music you choose, just to kind of give people a fun little, uh, one part of it would be like if you're editing, for example,
Yeah.
you make slower cuts, say like on 5 second, 3 to 5 second rhythms.
Mm-hmm.
It can create a sense of calm for the viewer because they have time to take it all in. And it's just like if you're sitting in a park, oh, the birds, oh, the water, river running by, take it
Yeah.
all in about 3 to 5 seconds at a time. But if you rapid cut, it
Yeah.
creates that sense of excitement or a sense of
Uh,
uh, maybe you're going more towards the cortisol or the fight or flight, but it
yeah.
creates that sense of urgency for people. That's why action scenes are cut super fast
They
to be
are. I know.
exciting.
Yeah.
And it's
As
why
you describe it, I'm like remote. Yeah, like we saw
Mhm.
Spider-Man a couple weeks ago, and then yeah, there's a lot of moving fast things.
super fast. It keeps
Yeah.
your attention, but it's feeding your mind, your
Yeah.
brain constant new information. It's
Yeah.
kind of why I like scrolling on TikTok so addicting, right? But if it's slower, more methodical, that might be like the love scene or the dating scene between two characters, or the reflective learning that like the hero is learning the lesson they were supposed to learn on their journey, right? That sort of stuff.
Right.
So yeah, if they want to draw someone in, cut fast. If you
Yeah.
want someone to rest and think for a minute, cut slow. And
Okay.
the best people do both in one
Mm,
video.
and blend it in together.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I know we said earlier, like it's a 3 second window, right? You have usually to capture somebody's attention. How would you translate your experience and how you're leading your organization to those 3 seconds to earn someone's attention in the leadership, right? When especially where like in situations where you really need to to get their attention to educate them on something or listen to them or make them feel connected. How does that work?
Yeah. Well, so starting on like the video side, when a great ad or a great video I feel like when you really hit it out of the park, that piece of content says to the viewer, I see you. I
Mm,
see what you're going through. You're going through these problems. And it'll say it in the most relatable way possible, or the most relatable scenario possible, in the most fastest possible. That's
mm,
in that first 3 seconds. And I think when you're leading a person or leading a team of people, it's the same thing. If I can show my team, hey, I see you and I empathize with you within that first 3 seconds. And that could be as easy as, hey, I'm putting my phone
yeah.
away when we're
Mhm.
talking. So I could be on a call and they walk up. As soon as they sit down, beep, it's
Yeah.
gone. It's not, hey, I need to check this during our
Yeah. Yeah.
discussion.
Yeah.
That's an example for you, but just doing whatever you can to show that. And I'm not perfect at that. I mean,
Mhm.
sometimes you're in the middle of something, but
Right.
uh, having that mindset though of like they're in front of you, they're the most important thing in front of you right now.
Yeah.
What uh, what can I do in that first 3 seconds? Hey, here's a coffee. You know,
Mhm.
um, hey, let's go grab lunch. Let's go for a walk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's get out of here and go for a walk. I just did that
Right.
in the first 1 second, right? I'm
Yeah.
getting them out of their seat and moving, and we're gonna go enjoy the
Yeah.
they have some oxytocin releasing right there.
Right. Right.
They're like, oh, this person cares about me, and they're creating an environment that's
Yeah.
giving me some new input and some new life. That's the first. That's how I would tell
Nice.
people or
Like,
share the first three
yeah.
seconds.
That's beautiful. And essentially, also, I like to lead with, when I'm like a one-on-ones, is how are you doing? Like, I start with,
Mm,
how are you
super simple. Yeah.
feeling, right? Or what's going on, type of thing. Not, I don't need updates or anything. I like you. I really am very interested in you, right? And
Right.
and what's going on in your mind, in your world. So,
Oh,
and that
100%.
and that allows us for to create that safe space in that 3 seconds, for sure. They capture, they sometimes it throws them off. It's like me, like you care about, like, what, you want to know something?
Yeah.
But it's good.
That's the easiest one for most people to do, and is just to care for a few seconds is huge. I like to lead with humor too a lot. Like I said, my boss from McDonald's is like Michael Scott. If something comes to me where I know I can make that person smile in the first few
Yeah, yeah,
seconds of our interacting, I'm going to do it. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. As long as it's not uncomfortable, right? Like, Michael.
yeah. Right, right. Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
funny.
Well, we're
Oh,
like
yeah.
my grandpa used to be a semi truck driver when he was alive, and he made it his goal to make someone smile every day, and so that was
Oh,
kind
that's
of the
great.
I took that, yeah, that idea from him. Yeah,
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that. So, and we need more of that, right? Especially you coming, like, I love your entertainment background and how leadership could also be not necessarily entertaining, but how you can leverage some of the experience to be able to deliver the message,
yeah,
make the connections, right? And understand your audience. That's the biggest thing, because the way you're creating, whatever, whether it's an ad or a movie, or a short clip or whatever, you also have to define who the audience is, right?
right, yeah,
Maybe your audience is wide, and that's a little harder, but you have to understand, who are you talking to. You can understand how you deliver that, because we talked a second ago about generational, gaps, and how people, the younger generations, are short, right? They need that short. They get bored really quick, right?
mhm.
And you were saying, Sad, that we owe it to them. So you want to expand on that?
Yeah, well, everybody seems to think like that story is the biggest thing, and
Mm,
I see story as an element of entertainment. Like, you've heard you go to a home for Thanksgiving and you hear the same story from your uncle 3 times in a row. It's not an effective way to communicate, right? You're over it. So entertainment is huge, and we owe it to the people we're talking to. So for example, if your service or product really truly helps someone, uh, it you owe it to them to tell them about it in an entertaining way, in a compelling way. That might be a more comfortable word for people, but it really is entertaining way. And because that's the only way that you make them care.
yeah,
If 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 you tell it to them in a boring way, you know, hey, you really shouldn't drive drunk. It's like, that didn't make me care. And
yeah,
they might go drive drunk. But if you
yeah,
told them in a very entertaining way, uh, even though it's a very serious topic, it's like if you mix in some elements of entertainment, into
Yeah.
your messaging. Entertainment doesn't mean be silly or it's
Yeah.
not
Right.
some thin vanity thing. It means pull the levers that draw people in.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And so we owe it. If your product or your service really helps people, and if it's important to making people's lives better, then you have a moral obligation to
Yeah.
share it in an entertaining way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you don't have to be an entertainer to do that. You just
Right.
got to pull the right levers. It's easy, you know?
Exactly.
So I feel like, and I'll be a little harsh here, but I feel like it's lazy to, to just, and doing a disservice. It's almost like a disservice to your audience, sharing it in a boring way. And it's so ironic too. I teach a lot of workshops, and this is one thing. The entertainment piece is always the first thing to go whenever a project becomes under pressure.
Mm.
Oh, we just got to get the message out.
Yeah.
Well, then the first thing to go shouldn't be the entertainment factor, because you're at least going to get eyeballs on the brand.
Right.
It
Right.
shouldn't. It should be everything else. That's
Yeah.
the priority. If you want to care for people, you give them some delight in their day. You give them something interesting in their day, right? Give them
Yeah.
something of value. Uh,
Yeah.
so anyway, that's where I'm coming from with that. Is we have a moral obligation to
Right.
get people's attention, to tell them how we can make their life better.
Absolutely. And
You know?
it takes work, right? It's not easy, right? Because you have
No.
to really navigate. If you look at it, entertaining your employees is one thing, and then the different types of generations is also another thing, or even the type of industry they're supporting, right? And how they grew up. Like we do a lot of federal government on our end, and everything is very compliance regulated and
Mhm.
structured, right? So how do you find that they appreciate entertainment more because they're looking for that? And then on the customer side, even that too, right? They want to be entertained from the beginning, meaning I love what you say. You describe, and hopefully I don't butcher it. It's like how do you engage so they can lean into right your message, right? That's the
Mhm.
that's the whole point of entertainment, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's funny too. Like, we have done some government projects. We got hired to do this bear safety video one time, and we have to have. There's certain information we have to put in these videos, right? Like it's got to be there for legal reasons and everything else.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, cool. We will totally get that info in there. But do you mind if we produce this video like the movie The Revenant? Because that's about a guy who survived a bear attack. And they were like, thankfully it was Wyoming, because Wyoming is a very innovative place. And even
Yeah.
if they don't get it, they'll say, sure, whatever, just do it.
Right.
I love that about Wyoming, but watch the Wyoming and the Wyoming people.
That's
And we
funny.
did. And you know what? They played it in a theater in Casper at a hunting event, an expo, and they sit and you could hear a pin drop in the room. Everybody was paying attention to the safety video because
Yeah.
we took the time to entertain them about a very serious topic. The
Yeah.
music was like The Revenant. The way we filmed it was like The Revenant.
Oh my God.
Opened with a story about a guy who survived a bear attack from a guide firsthand. And we shot it, we color graded it like The Revenant. But we
I
still
think
had all the standard safety
yeah,
info, and we kept
yeah.
their attention for 15, 20 minutes.
That's
So anyway.
that's amazing, Brandon. I love that. I love that because I'm picturing, right? Like even you explained it to me. If it would have been a normal safety video, don't throw rocks at. I don't know. I'm just making it up.
Right.
Like people are gonna whatever. It's just white noise to them, right? But if you're
Yeah.
like, I'm watching a movie. Oh, somebody survived because they did this. It's I think you might have heard this before. People remember how you make them feel, not
Yeah.
what you do or say, right? It's that feeling, that emotion, right? That
Mhm.
we'll remember. And like if you go back into your memory bank, the things that you almost for the most part are remembering are the things that were very emotional to you, right?
Yeah. Well, when you think about it too, is I told myself we need to tell a whole room of hunters what Johnny Law wants them to do out in the woods. None of them want to hear that.
Yeah,
So let's open on a story told by one of their people about how they
yeah,
survived a bear attack.
exactly.
And so now it's saying, again, we see you
Yeah,
right out of the gate, versus just saying, dictating from on high, like, hey, follow
yeah,
these rules.
exactly.
So it's and simple trick for anybody that wants to do that same thing
Yeah,
is use Hollywood as your R&D department. I call it
there you
steal from Hollywood. They spend millions capturing people's attention.
go. Yeah, yeah,
We don't have to just go to a movie and take a few ideas home with you
yeah.
and shoot them on your phone.
Nice.
That's what we've been doing it for years. It's
Yeah. Okay.
stupid simple, but it,
Yeah.
it works.
I'm gonna start using that, you know?
Yeah,
So
no
thank you for
problem.
the
Yeah,
tip there. All right, I think we're kinda, coming on end here. I would like
sure.
to go switch into the flip the mic. Do you have a
Yeah,
question for me?
I do. I do. So, uh, uh, is there such a thing as being too kind of a leader? Or maybe a better way to ask that would be is, say someone's working in a toxic environment, is them like being an employee trying to take on be a leader in their own space, is is it possible that they become a kind of a kind leader, they become more of a target, right,
Mm.
in a toxic environment? How does a person navigate that?
Yeah, that's a great one, actually. I don't think nobody has asked me that one, but I think if the reality is Brandon, we can only control what we can control, right?
Mm,
And that has been a challenge, especially in the kind of mental health arena, right? People are trying to, anxiety becomes about the future and trying to control the future and the external, right? And then depression is all about reliving the past, the bad things that have happened to you, or right, and you're in that, not in the present. So as you're looking in an environment that is very toxic, right, and you try to influence and you try different things, trying to that goes back to you can't control that. So, my quick answer to that is you need to find a different environment and a different location that will appreciate you, your values, your core values, and always look. If you're looking for jobs, don't just look for the job and the pay, right, or the benefits. Look and research the core values. That is very important. If people are there and then you have your basics, even the basic ones as integrity or they're just they just threw it out from
the
the
buzzwords.
they just threw it up and got it done. Like really, listen to those, and those are very important. That will allow you to find the right job into the right organization that you will be heard. But trying to shift the culture or live in a culture that you don't belong is it's hard from my experience. Could it be done? Maybe, but it's going to be really hard.
Yeah.
So
Well, what would be the say they're applying for their jobs, but they're stuck there for right now,
yeah.
and they wanna lead with kindness in their own sphere. What would be your one
I
survival tip for them?
Yeah, and I think the great survival tip is you need to be genuine on what you do, right? And um, continue to be yourself, right? Because you can't, the minute you begin to adapt or try to become the person that you think they need you to be in order to fit that, that's where you get swallowed into that, right? So continue to be yourself. If you are a kind leader, don't fake it. You are. Make sure you don't take advantage. Make sure there's accountability, right? Make sure you're delivering the value as well as the deliverables. If you're in a project based kind of company or projects, right? Do your job, do the best you can, and right, and don't let the comments or the feedback, the external, get to you, right?
Mm.
And go find the right company. So great question. I really got me thinking on that one.
Yeah, no, that's a yeah, it was yeah, I'm good. I'm glad.
All right, let's go through the rapid fire questions here. I have three for you and then a closing question for you. So the first 3 seconds of a show, what makes you keep watching?
Something blowing up
Okay.
usually.
Oh, like, whoa, what is that?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like, okay. One thing every leader could steal from Netflix tomorrow morning.
Oh, man, that's good. I'll try to give you rapid answers here.
Yeah.
Uh, one uh, ways to be uh, ways to captivate your audience, ways to captivate your the people sitting in front of you. Yeah,
Gotcha.
uh,
Perf
that's
perfect,
kind of
perfect.
vague, but I'm trying. Sorry,
No,
that's
no, no, all good, all good.
but that is it. It's like if
'Cause I know they did a lot of algorithm, right? They built a lot of algorithm to provide, like, one of the things that I love, there's 3 things from Netflix. I like the continue watching. It automatically just keeps binging, right, for you, and if
yeah,
you don't click, it'll keep playing. And then the other one is the groupings of, and this is earlier Netflix maybe, groupings of, like, "If you watch this, you'll like this," and it was usually pretty spot on.
yeah. I guess that's a good point. Is like I guess one thing you could steal from Netflix today and use it tomorrow would be getting feedback from your people to give them more of what they want and less of what they don't, I guess, in
I
a
like
sense,
that.
in your
Yeah.
leadership, I suppose.
I
Yeah.
like that. Okay. A word that instantly kills attention in content or in leadership.
Oh man, that's so good. A word that kills. I'm sorry, can you say that one more time, that
A
question?
word that instantly kills attention in content or in leadership, like discourages people or, like I got that
The
through
thing
some
that's coming to my mind is ums and ahs.
umps and us. Okay.
If you use the word a lot,
Yeah.
that can kill attention in entertainment, but also talking to someone, you're making it harder and harder for them to understand. So if a person can edit out those ums and
Yeah.
ahs from their speaking as much as possible, just pause instead of saying and ah. Those filler words really
Yeah.
deplete people. Yeah.
Great point. Because I think that devalues like the confident, right? I think not that not for the most part, but I feel like those pauses create that psychological, okay, well, what's next? And it interrupts the flow of the conversation.
Yeah. That and we can't, that
We can't. Okay.
depletes
Yeah.
a conversation quickly
Yeah.
from ideation and innovation to, oh, I
Yeah.
guess we're just done here. That'll pull a conversation pretty fast.
Yeah, yeah. Perfect. It's a good one. Okay. So somewhere out there is a kind leader listening, right, who just realized their team may have quietly stopped paying attention to them. Not out loud, not in a way they could name, but but on earth. What's the one truth you want to leave them with today?
Stop talking so much, talk less, and start doing more. Start showing up. There's got, if they're not listening to you, there's something that you're not delivering.
Mm,
Maybe you're not showing up on time to your own meetings. Maybe you're not keeping your promises, or you've broken too many. It's hard for us all to keep our promises all the time.
yeah,
Maybe you're talking their ear off. That's something that I'm always working on, is to not
yeah,
over talk to people. And I'm very aware of it. Um, there's got to be something in there that you're doing that's wearing them out. So they're
yeah,
tuned out. They're not listening because their brain is trying to uh, survive.
yeah,
So
right.
there's something going on in your business or in your leadership that is taxing their mental calories too much, and you got to find out what that is, and you got to snuff it out
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
build on it.
Oh, great. No, great feedback there. No, I spot on. I think that's see that a lot. And, and if you just can reduce the amount you talk, you got two ears, one mouth, right? Listen more, understand more, and then kind of deliver the message based on your audience and kind of essentially what we've been discussing, entertainment, right? Captivating that audience, trying to figure out that attention. And I really appreciate, you being on the show today and, amazing background, amazing and great. Congrats on your leadership in your company for the past 16 years. And the takeaway for me, it's been great. Your definition of from a kind leader of the whole person, right? Really connecting with the whole person and making sure that they are seen, they're valued, right? And that you create that safe space in your organization is critical. So in the entertainment, I'm going to take away some of those great things and your advice. Go look at some movies and see how I can now change my the videos that I do, or the even leading a meeting. Right, I won't start with a bomb, but explosion. I mean, but maybe something else. So thank you very much for joining the show. It's been a pleasure. And if people want to reach out to you, Brandon, where can they find you?
Yeah, look us up at www.firetribe.tv, as in television. Firetribe.tv. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Thanks again. And for our audience, thank you for being a kind leader listener. And we'll leave you with be kind, bring value, rise together. Have an amazing day.